For every massive, explosive trailer Netflix decides to drop for Stranger Things, there are a dozen tiny little details they sneak into posters and interviews that end up spoiling even bigger things. Let's just start with Vecna's glow-up. Or maybe glow-down is more accurate. The last time we saw our big bad, he was getting flambéed like a creme brulee before taking a shotgun-assisted dive out a two-story window. He looked pretty crispy, but of course, he pulled a Michael Myers and vanished the second everyone looked away. We knew he wasn't gone for good, but after that beatdown, he was never going to come back looking the same. The time jump between seasons 4 and 5, which the Duffers have confirmed will be a significant leap forward, likely a couple of years to account for the actors' ages, has given him plenty of time to fester and evolve. And boy, has he evolved. The new poster shows a creature that's far more monstrous. The smooth, veiny skin is gone, replaced by a texture that looks like charred bark, covered in sharp, thorny tendrils. It's like he's become one with the most hostile parts of the Upside Down's flora. Honestly, it's a brilliant design choice, and I can't help but feel it's a direct response to the internet affectionately calling him the Grinch in Season 4. There are even little hints that these tendrils can move and extend, almost like Groot's vines, which is a horrifying thought. But the creepiest detail, by far, is the row of jagged teeth that seem to be sprouting from the side of his head, forming a grotesque, organic crown. It's a chilling callback to the meat puppet from Season 3, that ungodly amalgamation of melted people. That thing was covered in teeth and spikes, and by putting that same design element on Vecna, they're visually telling us he's reaching his final form, absorbing the power and horror of all the monsters that came before him. But the physical changes are just scratching the surface. The poster deliberately hides one of his eyes, and it's not because he lost it in the fight. I went back and checked. Nancy plugged him in the chest 5 times, and his eyes were perfectly fine when he hit the pavement. This is pure lore. This is Dungeons & Dragons. For those who don't know, the eye and hand of Vecna are 2 of the most powerful and corrupting artifacts in the entire game. The story goes that Vecna, an all-powerful undead lich, was betrayed and destroyed by his most trusted lieutenant, a warrior named Cass. All that was left behind were his left eye and his left hand. Anyone who found these relics could gain godlike abilities by gouging out their own eye or chopping off their own hand and replacing them. The eye grants true sight, the ability to see things as they truly are, which sounds an awful lot like Will Byers' true sight into the Upside Down, doesn't it? The hand grants immense power. The poster not only hides Vecna's left eye, but it also makes his left hand look absolutely massive, way bigger than his right. It's a dead giveaway. They're leaning into the D&D lore harder than ever, and it all seems to be pointing directly at Will. To destroy the artifacts in the game, you need the Sword of Cass, the very weapon used to defeat Vecna the first time. The theory that Eddie Munson could be resurrected by Vecna to become his Cass, only to betray him in the end, has been floating around forever. Now, let's talk about the bikes. At the bottom of the poster, we see the 4 original boys on their bikes. But if you look closely, only 2 of the bikes have their headlights on. Why? Why that specific, tiny detail? Because in Season 4, just before his heroic last stand, Eddie Munson was the only one in the Upside Down with his flashlight on. It was a piece of visual foreshadowing, and we all know how that ended. So, are they telling us that 2 of the original 4 boys aren't going to make it out of this alive? The thought is almost too painful to consider. It feels especially cruel when you look at the animated title card for Season 5, which shows all 4 of their bikes abandoned in the Upside Down, but with every single headlight still burning bright. The conflicting imagery feels intentional. The bikes also reveal another subtle, brilliant clue. In every other poster, the kids are either facing us or riding from left to right, the direction our brains associate with moving forward. In this poster, for the first time ever, they're riding from right to left. It's a visual cue that we are going backward. We're going back in time. We know the Upside Down has been mysteriously frozen on November 6, 1983, the day Will was taken. The show has to explain why. The very first scene of Season 5, as revealed in a script page shared by the writers, is set in 1983 and features Will singing the Clash's "Should I Stay or Should I Go" just before his abduction. We are literally going back to the beginning to understand the end. This all circles back to Will Byers, who is rightfully placed at the very front of the bike pack. After being sidelined for 2 seasons, this is finally his story. Noah Schnapp has confirmed it, the Duffers have confirmed it. Season 5 is the story of Will Byers. It's about his connection to Henry Creel, his time in the Upside Down, and why he was the first target. The poster even has him in his full trauma fit, the jacket and backpack he wore in a behind-the-scenes CGI scan, which usually means that character is about to go through some intense, effects-heavy action. And if you think you know Henry Creel's full backstory from Season 4, you are not prepared for the lore bomb that is the official London stage play. Stranger Things: The First Shadow? The play is canon, and it reveals that Henry didn't just develop his powers in a vacuum. He was being influenced by the Mind Flayer and the dimension of the Upside Down from a very young age. It also introduces a new character, Patty Newby, Yes, Bob Newby's sister, who was Henry's childhood friend and one of his first connections to the outside world. Crucially, the play ends with Henry being sucked into this other dimension by Dr. Brenner's experiments before the events of Season 4's flashbacks, implying his transformation into Vecna was a much longer and more complex process influenced by the Upside Down's hive mind. This new information completely recontextualizes everything and suggests that the link between Will and Henry might be even deeper and more predetermined than we ever imagined. And what about the other characters? The poster shows Eleven riding on the back of Mike's bike, a beautiful, heart-wrenching callback to the iconic shot from Season 1. It's a full-circle moment that feels both sweet and terribly final. But then you have the lightning in the sky above Vecna. It's not random. It forms the distinct silhouette of a person. Some people think it looks like a young boy, maybe a flashback to young Henry Creel, connecting to the story from the first shadow. But to me, it looks like someone in a suit jacket and a brimmed hat. I have no idea who that could be, but it feels like a hint at a new, powerful player in the game. Or maybe it's not a person at all, but a new entity from the Upside Down. Another major casting announcement that has everyone buzzing is the addition of Linda Hamilton, the absolute legend from the Terminator franchise. Her role is being kept under wraps, but the prevailing theory is that she is a high-ranking government official or a scientist connected to Dr. Brenner's past who knows more about the Upside Down than anyone. Her steely, no-nonsense persona would be a perfect fit for a character who has to confront the end of the world. Could the lightning silhouette be hinting at her character's importance? Of course, the biggest question mark hanging over the season is the fate of Eddie Munson. Joseph Quinn has become an absolute master of the non-denial. Every time he's asked if he's coming back, he gets this massive, knowing grin and gives some beautifully vague answer like, "There's always a chance for anything, isn't there?" The man knows things. He's admitted in interviews that he knows some bits about Season 5, and the Duffers wouldn't be feeding him information if he wasn't involved somehow. A flashback is the bare minimum we can expect. We've seen dead characters return to haunt our heroes before. Barb's death was the entire motivation for Nancy in the early seasons, and they brought Dacre Montgomery back to film brand new scenes as Billy for Season 4. The Duffers have already said that Eddie's death will have huge repercussions for the final season, especially for Dustin, who will no doubt be wrestling with immense guilt, making him a prime target for Vecna's psychological warfare. But what if it's more than a flashback? Eddie's body was left in the Upside Down. It's still there. Vecna is a master of manipulation and a being of immense power. The idea of him reanimating Eddie's body to use as a puppet, a twisted version of Cass the Betrayer, is a theory that just won't die. It would be an absolutely devastating blow to Dustin and the audience, which sounds exactly like something this show would do. Beyond individual characters, the very fabric of reality seems to be on the chopping block. A VFX studio working on the show accidentally posted a synopsis that was far more revealing than Netflix's official one. It mentioned the Upside Down merging with Hawkins, which we saw beginning at the end of Season 4, but then it dropped this phrase, "Time itself unraveling." What does that even mean? It sounds so much bigger than just flashbacks. We've seen hints of time manipulation before. Henry Creel turning back the grandfather clock, Eleven traveling through memories. Hopper even gave a speech in Season 3 about wanting to turn back the clock. The title of the very first episode of Season 5 has been revealed as Chapter 1, The Crawl. This could mean a lot of things. It could be a literal crawl out of the wreckage of Hawkins, a slow and painful start to the season. It could refer to Vecna crawling back to power, or it could be a reference to something crawling from one dimension, or one time to another. With the Upside Down being stuck in 1983 and the season premiere taking us back there, the concept of time is no longer a background element. It's a central part of the plot. I just pray they don't go for a full-on endgame-style time travel plot. It can so easily cheapen the stakes and emotional sacrifices that have been made. But the idea of time becoming unstable, of memories and reality bleeding into one another as the dimensional barrier shatters, is a terrifying and exciting possibility. Then they dropped that behind-the-scenes video, a 2-minute heart attack that was just a rapid-fire montage of new footage. First up, let's talk about the locations, because we're going back to some iconic and terrifying spots. They gave us a fresh look at Hawkins' lab, but in the Upside Down, and it looks gnarly. It's completely overgrown with those creepy vines, and we get our first real glimpse of the Rainbow Room in its decayed state. We know from other leaks that Steve, Nancy, Jonathan, and Dustin are heading there on a mission, and it looks like they're literally just going to drive Steve's car right through a gate to get there. In one shot, you can hear Matt Duffer yell, "And you explode through," as they film the scene, so you know it's going to be an epic entrance. But the biggest, most insane leak came from the most unexpected place, director Sean Levy's shot list board. They basically laid out an entire high-stakes scene for us. Lucas is carrying Ma through the hospital while a Demogorgon is actively hunting them. Vicky is with them, and there are little storyboard drawings of them hiding under a table as the Demogorgon looms over them. This is huge. It confirms that Max is, at some point, out of her coma, but she's immediately in the worst possible danger. We've been wondering about her fate for years, and now we know she's back in the action, even if she needs to be carried to safety. This sequence is going to be pure heart attack fuel. Now, let's talk team-ups, because Season 5 is bringing back the classic adventure groups. We've got the Hawkins lab crew I just mentioned. Then you have Hopper and Eleven going full Terminator mode against the US military. We see them hiding behind a huge billboard in the Upside Down while Hopper lobs grenades at soldiers. It's insane that they're not just fighting monsters, but the government too. Meanwhile, Joyce is back to being the ultimate mama bear, seen holding an axe in a barn, ready to defend the kids from a Demogorgon. It's such a perfect callback to her in Season 1, and I am so ready to see her go absolutely feral to protect everyone. And we even get a glimpse of a Murray and Robin team-up, which is guaranteed to be comedic gold. Okay, but the most mind-blowing potential spoiler was hidden in plain sight. On a playback monitor behind the Duffer Brothers on the screen, you can see Will, Lucas, Dustin, and Jonathan. But here's the crazy part. They're in completely new outfits we've never seen. Lucas has a brand new haircut, no more flat top, and Jonathan is rocking a mustache. This looks nothing like the 1987 setting of the rest of the show. This has to be from a time jump at the very end of the season, like an epilogue scene. If that's true, it's amazing to see that those guys survive, but it also makes you ask the terrifying question, where are Mike and Eleven? On top of these huge reveals, the video was just a lightning-fast montage of chaos. We get a horrifying shot of a Demogorgon literally bursting through the ceiling of the Wheeler house, which explains why we see Karen and Holly looking so terrified in other clips. We see Steve, in a moment of pure panic, driving his car straight through someone's backyard fence. But the absolute weirdest and most confusing shot takes place in that barn. One minute, Joyce is there with her axe, the next she's gone, the emergency lights are off, and Will is on the ground pinning another kid down. His face looks intense, and it gives off major Mind Flayer possession vibes. Erica and Robin are there, running towards the barn doors. What is even happening in this scene? Is Will possessed again? Is he trying to save the kid? It's impossible to tell, but it is one of the most suspicious clips we've seen yet. And of course, in between all the horror and explosions, they gave us a few moments that are clearly designed to break our hearts. We get these beautiful, quiet shots of Mike and Eleven just sitting on a roof at sunset, and another of them sharing a hug. Normally this would be great, but in a final season, scenes like this always feel like the calm before the storm. The Duffers are building up these emotional connections, and it makes me so nervous that they're setting one of them up for a tragic ending. So these have been all of the biggest spoilers and theories we could piece together for Stranger Things Season 5. Which one has you the most hyped or the most worried? Let us know in the comments below, and if you want to see more Stranger Things content and breakdowns, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next one.